Had a little listen to his podcast, huh?
Dude, it's educational. And besides, I've been wanting to listen to this one.
Welcome to Idling in the Impala, a podcast by and for lovers of supernatural and the fan fiction it inspires. Before we begin, just want to remind you to follow us wherever you listen so you don't miss any episodes or bonus content. If you love what we do and want an easy way to show your support, please consider leaving us a positive, that's all the stars rating on your favorite listening platform. It helps SPN and fanfic lovers find us and share in the fun. I'm Sandra.
I'm Kasey, and we're going to have a bit of a moan today. Well, not so much a moan, more of a awkward cough, I guess, because we're going to look at some of the stuff that hasn't aged particularly well from Supernatural. We've got a document and a article and a buddy as well, because you can't whinge about shit without your buddies. So BJ has been on the podcast a couple of times before, but she's back with us.
Hello.
Welcome, BJ. Lovely to have you.
Yes.
Super excited. Let's get our bitching shoes on. Not bitching, just coughing awkwardly and pointing out
constructive
some
criticisms.
Yeah. Because we were trying to figure
Things
out.
we wish had been done better.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out what topic to have you come back for, and then the stars aligned and then misaligned today, where I was doing a smut closet where I was doing a reading for you, and I was like, hey, you're already going to be at our disposal. Why don't you just come on after and have a chat with us? And we're already going to be talking about stuff that didn't age well. Do you have thoughts? And I think BJ was like, I could probably come up with some thoughts if you if you really had to have me do
because
that.
BJ is a nicer person than us, because if someone had asked me that, I'd have been like, I've got so many thoughts. Oh, pull up a chair, fucker. So many.
Things that didn't age well on this show. I mean,
Where do you want to start, to be fair?
well,
I think that we should start with the article in the doc that you sent.
Yeah.
The Screen Rant article.
Mhm.
First of all, I hate Screen Rant's takes on Supernatural.
Okay.
I find
Yeah,
them
they're-
extremely surface level.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you actually read through that list, they repeat themselves about 5 different times.
Oh, I'm sure they do. I think this was the one thing I could find that actually, like, something about Supernatural not aging well. So I was like, let me put this in and just see. But
So
yeah, they definitely do that.
disclaimer, we are not endorsing Screen Rant. Screen Rant's opinions do not reflect our own opinions here at Idling in the Impala podcast. We are just ripping off some poor intern that put this list together.
Well, just to get ideas. That's all I was
Just
trying
ideas.
for.
That probably saw the show once several years ago
Mhm.
and is having to revisit the transcripts to remember what actually
Well,
happened.
when was this? So this is all the way back in 2019 anyway. So this was even before it was done. So they still had another
That would explain
season.
the last entry.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was just like, as we all know, listeners, Kasey don't read shit before the episode, so I wasn't reading it. So I just clicked on this link for the first time, and the first entry is women in refrigerators, and I looked at that for so fucking long, going, "No one's in a refrigerator in the pilot episode."
That's the
The women that die
the-
in the pilot episode,
yeah.
burn. That is the opposite of a refrigerator. But yeah, it literally just means that 2 women end up in the morgue. What a bizarre way to word that. Maybe.
Wouldn't you just say fridge
It's
someone? Like, would
the
it just
name
be a
of the trope.
fridge thing? Yeah, they'd just be fridged, right? Like, not women in refrigerators. Like, you just fridge.
That's what it says. Women.
Yeah,
in
no, I know
refrigerators.
that's what it says, but I'm just. Is it fridging? Is that what they technically just would say for something?
No, that
like
sounds like something that the
That sounds like some-
author cribbed from TV tropes, and it's probably been renamed since then. Like firearm safety fail a while back. It was changed from "I just shot Marvin in the face," and it's about all the times in fiction when people are really, really bad about gun safety.
Mm,
I really
okay.
fucking love that scene,
TV
though.
tropes has gotten less cute as it's gotten older, and I find it sad, actually.
Mm.
Yeah, because everything's been done, so everybody's trying to find something else. I do actually really like that scene, though. For listeners who are not in the know, that is from the Quentin Tarantino movie Pulp Fiction.
Right. When they're riding down the road, and it's a dude in the back seat, and dude in the front seat turns around and starts talking to this guy. He has a weapon in his hand, safety off. He's got his finger on the trigger, and he's resting his wrist on the back of the bench seats. And then, poof, surprise, the gun goes off and blows this guy's head away. Like, you couldn't do a more comprehensive "you fail at gun safety" prize.
Yeah, it's very
One of the things that I've seen Supernatural get complimented on a lot is their handling of firearms seems easily realistic, except for when they shove the guns down the back of their pants. That's a big no-no.
Yeah, but they can't wear holsters. It'll ruin the line of the flannel.
True.
Ruin the line of the flannel.
The shoulder holster would take a few more seconds. You can't access your weapon as easily as you would need to.
Yeah.
Is there anything about, like, if we talk about stuff that didn't age well, is there anything that didn't age well about, like, their use of weapons or anything like that? Like, did anything change in terms of, like, how they, I think in terms of how they ended up handling. Go ahead.
Well, except for using a grenade launcher in an enclosed space, and somehow they didn't go deaf. I love that scene as much as anybody. I was eagerly cheering, but where's your fire in the holes, motherfucker?
That's a valid point, actually. I didn't even consider that.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't even consider
that.
You know better than that, Mr. Winchester.
Well, I guess at that point he's like, well, either like, I lose my hearing or we die. It's one or the other.
It takes 30 seconds and get some little ear caps. I mean, you're in the armory. I'm sure they're there.
I'm sure there are. That's the thing too. Yes.
Yeah, but to be completely fair, that's a little nitpicky shit.
Yeah.
You can write it off as artistic license. What we're talking about is things that either the show didn't know better because it's a relic of its time and place, the same as anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not all of Buffy aged terribly well either. Or rewind further, one of my favorite shows ever is MASH, and there are parts, especially in the first 3 seasons, that are literally unwatchable because of its gender politics.
On this article is Dean's treatment of his daughter. That's the third thing about this season 7 episode.
I didn't get that.
I don't get that either.
Yeah.
That's not a didn't age well. That is a plot point that wasn't executed with gender.
Yeah.
And it can be a plot point that made you uncomfortable.
Because it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get fixated on this show being fun because it is fun most of the time, but this is not a topic that you should be okay with just, okay, neat resolution, let's move on to the next case. It kind of pisses me off that it was treated that way in show, though. Especially when you're talking about Dean, who I think pretty obviously actually does want kids of his own.
Supernatural, and a lot of shows do this a lot, right? Like, yeah, like you said, they just kind of like tie it up in a neat little bow and then it's just done and it's not talked about again, or it only covers a short time period, like the whole thing about like having the discussion, having something to counteract what they, were saying about with Amy and what Dean had done. And then, was it Amy?
Those situations are not comparable,
not comparable.
I want to punch Sam for trying to make them comparable.
But they had to come up with something, right? Like, and then it was
an attempt to parallel. Yeah. It was an attempt to go, okay, well, you killed someone I cared about, so I killed someone you cared about, and now we're all square. And I'm like, baby friend, no, baby, no.
That's not remotely how that situation unfolded. It's one of Sam's less charming personality traits that he's very, very good at he can be egocentric. Everything is about him. And he does have some justification for feeling that way. He is the literal chosen one, albeit not chosen for a good thing. But paralleling Emma's situation with Amy's, those two situations are not comparable.
Yeah.
On the one hand, it's true. Emma had never killed anyone. On the other hand, she was moving on Dean in an aggressive manner with a weapon in her hand, and Sam acted as he should have. He removed a threat. The fact that threat has half of Dean's DNA and his daughter by blood is kind of irrelevant. Except to Dean, it isn't. And that's where that whole ending scene was supposed to go, and I don't think that they did. I don't think it landed the way that it should have.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
There's a thing that my mom and I do a lot. There's a bit from Fiddler on the Roof when everybody's gathered around the milk wagon and they're having a discussion about politics. And guy makes the point, he's right. Guy makes the opposite point. And the book still goes, he's right and he's right. They can't both be right. And, you are also right. And that's a situation like that. They're both right from opposite perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sam says, she wasn't your daughter, not really. And Dean, well, she was really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So since the things I did pull out of this that I thought was interesting anyway, in terms of how my brain popping, was the women representation of women and like the sexism and the misogyny that for me in the early seasons was not the best. Dean makes me cringe a little. So I don't know, BJ, what your thoughts were on that.
Well, first of all, Dean using bitch as a pejorative all the time. He does that because that's the strongest swear that he can use on broadcast television.
Yep.
I mean, he's son of a bitch. Well, first of all, son of a bitch is a general issue pejorative. I mean, that doesn't actually mean anything anymore.
Yeah.
But see above, that's the strongest swear that he can swear and still not get bleeped by Netflix censors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And as far as lack of respect, I think that's one of those eye of the beholder things, because first season Supernatural, we are seeing Dean more through Sam's perspective than an objective one. And Sam doesn't have a real high opinion of Dean at this point in the story.
Do you feel that that switched at some point in terms of like seeing Dean? Like, what do you think there's a certain point in the show where do you think it switches back and forth between them, or do you think it's heavily Sam and then it switches, Dean goes back to Sam?
No, I think the point of view, at least in terms of storytelling, there's a word for it on TV tropes, and I know what it is, but I can't pronounce it, which is basically co-leads. You like if the show was ever actually nominated for an award, although it wasn't because awards are allergic to genre fiction, it would have been a hard time. You'd have a hard time nominating whether Ackles or Padalecki would be nominated for Best Actor because their performances are intrinsic to one another's. As of about season 2, it's not Sam's story strictly anymore. It's both of theirs.
So, I mean, your thoughts. So for me, like season 3, I understand, Dean's use of the word. For me, though, I felt like the way, like, and they're already not the best characters. I get it, Ruby and Bella, but it seemed like every time out of his mouth, it was just bitch, 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 bitch. Like, just like the way that he was, it just felt a lot in season 3. And I was talking to Kasey about this. I was like, is it just because there were 2 female leads, but then why couldn't they have come up with something else a little bit more creative or whatever instead of that all the time? I have a tough time just with, again, it could be eye of the beholder, but I have a tough time with that season in general with Dean's use. It's very heavy. It's a lot of it in that season. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed that.
To be completely fair, see, they met Bella Bad Day at Black Rock. She did seriously try to kill them there. And
She
Ruby
did,
is a demon.
Yeah.
So these are
you
not good people just on the face of it.
Could you miss us with your F logic, please?
I don't think that Dean uses bitch the way a character like Jesse Pinkman does, where
it's a comma. Yeah.
I do think that Dean has issues where women are concerned, but they run a little bit deeper than language use.
Well, that's what I mean. Like him, like early seasons, Dean. Like there are certain moments where I'm just like, my dude.
Yeah, when he's drooling over the co-eds in the sorority.
That's a little. And then, like I said, the other thing.
Aren't you a little old to be having pillow fight fantasies, son?
Yeah. And then season 4, after school special, like, he's commenting on that cheerleaders, there's a couple cheerleaders that are of age, like, that might be 18. And I'm just going,
yeah, that's a I will punch you in the face.
Oh, I must have blocked all of that out. He's what?
He's at that point, he's almost
undercover
30.
as a gym teacher,
Yeah, he's
and he's nattering about how cute the cheerleaders are.
I was thinking what season
you are a 30-year-old man.
Yeah.
Shut up.
That's I blocked that part out because
it might have been because he was talking to Sam, and Sam was dressed up in a very nice janitor outfit, so you might have been focusing on
trying to gross Sam out.
Yeah, that's not beyond the realms of possibility. It just didn't fit right in all of the right ways. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I must have.
And it happened right after that really great gym scene too. I think, like, when he was like doing dodgeball and stuff, which is like classic. So I think it happened after. But it was just like, I was just like, oh, what? No, that's so cringy.
What is it?
Don't do that.
What fucking movie is it from? That's what I like about high school girls. I keep getting older.
It's Dazed and Confused. It's Dazed and Confused. Yeah.
I can't remember if it was that one off Fast Times. That's huge vibes. Oh, Dave, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Very, very cringy.
Completely fair. Fast forward to season 12, the episode where Claire gets bit by a werewolf. Dean and the Men of Letters guy, Mick, are following up on her interrogations, and says, "What, you like high school girls? What, you get older, they stay the same age? Am I right?" And you can tell he's not meaning it in a funny way.
Yeah.
You touch her again, I'll break your face. Thank you.
Yeah.
You've matured somewhat in 10 years. Thank goodness.
He can learn.
Yeah.
That's positive.
Yeah, I think that was a thing for me too, was like, one of the questions was like, when is that, like, growth for Dean is, I think, more, you notice it more because it was so, in early seasons, so very different than later seasons Dean. And I don't know, like, when that, I was trying to figure out, is there a certain time? Is it after Lisa? Is it before Lisa?
I think I think after Lisa, and being around, well, not so much quote unquote normies, but being around like Ben and Ben's friends, probably you gain a real appreciation for how young children are, if that makes sense, But I also think probably dealing with Claire, Chrissy, and Alex, and looking at these young girls that, however many years ago we would have gone, nah, it's over the age of consent, it's fine, and seeing them for the children that they are, probably, kind of helped. I don't think I could pinpoint one moment, but, and Charlie as well, even though Charlie wasn't a teen, she's in like her mid-20s maybe.
Charlie was never relationship material.
No, I don't mean that. I mean, like, in terms
of the exposure of, like, being, I just don't think he was around enough females regularly anyway to really get that, like, until, being, I think, around Lisa, I think, and, just like you said, that sort of like domestic life that he got a little bit, he had for a year. I would hope maybe it happened a little bit. It makes sense because, like, we're talking season 4 and I was still like, he did that thing. He said that thing. Why did he say that thing? I don't think I've heard him say anything that cringy for me. Like the
season 11.
Season 1. Well, okay. Where am I forgetting? What happened?
Season 11, the Wi-Fi ghost episode. I don't remember the title off the top of my head.
Okay.
Sam and Dean go to a college campus where some students are dying in weird ways.
Yeah.
Come to find out, the kids had actually caused a car wreck, a hit and run.
Yeah.
And the fellow that they hit died while he was being electrocuted, and his spirit is riding Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And that's how it's getting around.
Is it when he's walking in, like he's walking around the campus,
surrounded by all of these young ladies between the ages of, you'd think 18 to 23.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to make it, Sam. And he doesn't mean it, not really, but you also kind of want to punch him in the nose. It's like, dude, aim for the grad students.
Oh my
They're
God.
old. they're older, they're under more stress, and if you get out of line, they will actually punch you in the nose.
I just feel like that man could get, like, unfortunately, he can get away with a lot of shit for me, but like that's situations where I would just like be like, just shut up.
I'm having to step back and try and be objective about this person because now that I think about it, he is literally a mass murderer, and I am completely fine with it. All he has to do is scream at me.
Yeah, we're trying real hard to be objective because we're like, no, you don't understand. He's a baby. Oh, far better. It's fiction. It doesn't matter. It has no real world problematic implications. It's just fiction, but it do kind
but
of.
It obviously does too. Like I said, I think like in terms of the storytelling part of it, like I said, I think Dean is a very specific case of you do see growth with him in that situation. Sam, I was trying to pin down. He always seemed like he was pretty respectful, and I was trying to come up with a scenario, like a real world scenario, not like, the fantasy aspect of it that we're talking about, but just like, has he ever done anything that was kind of cringy? And Kasey, I feel like you would
diet, Sam.
Wait a minute. Oh, well, yeah, but that, okay, yeah, but does that count for Sam?
No.
Does that count for Sam?
It doesn't, I think, because soul-free diet Sam is imitation Sam. That's not the real Sam.
Yeah.
That's margarine Sam.
Mm-hmm.
And not even the good margarine, the imperial stuff that was 89 cents. But that version of Sam used women like condoms.
Yeah.
And it has its hot side, but it's also pretty horrifying if you stop to think about it for a minute.
Yeah, that is.
I think I pointed this out the first time that we talked.
Mm-hmm.
Sam, when he had no soul, I mean, what is it? Literally 3 episodes in, we see him, with he had an overnight guest that was obviously leaving.
Mm-hmm.
But the last thing that he does before they say goodbye is he hands her a wad of cash. So implication obvious, she's a working girl. Sam is an attractive, charismatic man who only refrains from getting all the ass in the world by inclination. If he wanted to, he could probably walk into a bar and pull just about anybody.
Kasey, this is true, correct?
That he felt he had to pay for it.
I think that's interesting, actually, when you compare that to just 2 seasons before, when Dean finds him at the start of 4 and Bobby takes him to Sam, and Dean assumes that Ruby is a sex worker, and he's sitting on the bed, he's pulling his shoes on or something, and he goes, "I don't have to pay, Dean." And that's the line, and he smirks when he says it. I don't have to pay. Or I don't pay. And then like two years down the line, 2 seasons down the line, and he's like,
Yeah.
Maybe it's just, I want to say that maybe it's just pragmatism from SoullessSam. Like, it's just easier to pay a girl. You don't pay a girl for sex, you pay a girl to leave in the morning, which is a horrible take. I don't like that. But maybe that's how he's looking at it. That it's a much more transactional relationship if he does it like that.
Yeah.
But then equally, we see he has no problem hooking up with victims' wives and people in bars and diners and bathrooms.
You just gave her the how you doing look.
Yeah, so
you totally did.
That does raise an interesting point about what did he need to pay that girl for? Yeah. Questions.
I think too, like in talking about growth and stuff, like, and we're talking about like what was considered like they did that was cringy. Like, I wouldn't even have considered anything DemonDean has done in this situation, because I don't, I consider that a version of Dean that's not the Dean, that like, and he did a ton of shit. It said a ton of, like, he said so many, he just was not nice.
Did you miss?
What? The Soul Survivor? Oh, yeah.
That's what he asked. You're the guy that's after Sammy's head. Did you miss?
Yeah.
Which actually highlights people that emphasize how misogynistic the characters, particularly Dean, are. I don't think that they were giving proper attention to how Dean was behaving when he was either demonized or under the thrall of the Mark of Cain. because open disrespect and contempt of women is a major sign that something is really, really fucking wrong.
Yeah.
Like calling a vampire victim a slut in front of her grieving parents. That's very not Dean.
I think that moment for me, it was a very, it felt like uncanny. Like it was just, it's like, who am I looking at like on screen? And I think I felt the same thing for trying to figure out what was wrong with Sam in the beginning of season 6, you know, especially like the episode Live Free or Try Hard, when like you see Dean getting ready to get attacked and just standing there watching, and then it happens and he's just smirking, and it's like, what's going on? This is an issue here. So yeah, that
Dean was de facto raped and he appeared to be enjoying the show.
And but like I said, that I think for some reason that one scene is very unnerving to me, because I'm just like, I don't know who I'm watching here. And it wasn't like apparent, you know, like everything that was like, you know, it wasn't like here's DemonDean, here's what you get. Like, you know, so it's kind of the same thing where you didn't know how he was getting affected by it, similar to like you didn't know what was going on with Sam.
I've heard people complain that DemonDean was kind of a damp squib. That was the point. That version, that particular demonization of Dean, he's Dean with all of the decency sanded off. Well, the casual decency anyway. You know, all he wants to do is start fights, drink the world, eat hot wings, and molest the cocktail waitresses.
Very,
very he's under the thrall of the Mark of Cain. That legitimately scared me. Especially, you know, DemonDean was bad, but Mark of Cain Dean was evil.
You can a person like DemonDean that is, you know, very id focused. You can reason with that to some degree. You can, you know, you can
probably tries. He doesn't do a very good job of it because he's a selfish victim, but he probably does try.
But you can, you know, you can feed it and you can fuck it and you can water it. Violence that the Mark of Cain wants, you can't reason with that. You can't give it what it wants without wreaking havoc. It's very different. Very scary. I think that when we're talking about like misogyny and, you know, general treatment of women, I think we'd have to keep it to non-possessed, non-Mark of Cain, non-just Sam and Dean classic. And then Sam is a perfect angel. Sam is a perfect angel, baby, who is PC and does nothing wrong.
I can't think of anything with Sam.
I code in my mind Sam as a dominant. And I think that one of the reasons we don't see him engage with women as much as we do Dean is because that aspect of his personality he finds genuinely off-putting. He's afraid. That would make perfect sense because Sam is a very big, strong guy, and he would have been made aware very early that he can really hurt people unless he's very strictly controlled.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Poor Sammy.
We have a couple dated pop culture references.
MySpace? Really? Anything having to do with Justin Bieber?
There was that, I didn't even get the reference at the time because I didn't understand why they were even bringing it up. It was like the porn star reference in like the beginning of season 8, like he was getting an update about like, he said something like, oh, is such and such gone mainstream now or something like that. And I was like,
Sasha Grey.
And Sasha Grey's gone legit.
Yeah. I was like, I didn't clock that at all. I mean, maybe the assumption was most people.
I don't know what that says about me and BJ, that not only do we know the reference that you meant, we know exactly what porn star it is. Yes.
The only reason I know is I saw like a clip of a video that Browse Held High did that he's since taken down because he got feedback from people who told him it was disrespectful to sex work. But that's the only reason I get that reference.
Okay. Kasey, why do you get that reference?
Because I was a denizen of the internet when images of Sasha Grey in adult films, but they were like crops. It was just her face. So if you hadn't necessarily seen that particular adult film, you wouldn't know that she was like on her knees or, you know, whatever, just an innocent face, and be like, oh, this actress, and then it's like, no, it's a porn star, really. I was around on the internet for that.
That for me was just like a little too, like, I felt like it was supposed to be a pop culture reference and I had no clue. So I was like, I don't know what's going on here.
So we're talking about, it's not necessarily pop culture, just as, technology has left you behind, darling. But the idea of paying for a premium porn site just in and of itself seems passe now.
Yeah.
This is
or
true.
even hard copy skin mags.
He can't tote around a DVD player. That was always a problem, to be fair. I know they tried to like shoehorn in like he's a fan of hentai and it's not racist, but like it's a little bit racist. It's a little bit.
That leads into a conversation I don't feel entirely qualified to have. Like, the intersection between fetishization and marginalization is one of those where, no, I don't have the background to really discuss that.
Yeah, that is
but BJ, we expect you to have the
bigger
backgrounds on
brains.
everything to be able to discuss things with us because we learned so much when we talked
I have
to
a
you.
broad layman's knowledge of a lot of things, just enough so that I sound a lot smarter than I actually am.
I have approximate knowledge of many things.
Dean says something like that, right? He's like, we know just enough to be dangerous or something like that. Like, just enough out,
Reason number 11,000,003, I'm very in love with that guy. He's the master of the indie boy.
I mentioned season 2, I think it was The Usual Suspects, because of Linda Blair. Like, it's so funny because I think unless you're really, like...
Unless you know what Linda Blair looks like now, you wouldn't necessarily get it.
Even
I saw the name in the credits and I recognized it.
Yeah, so I mean, even then, it's like, I don't
name.
think it would have been, you wouldn't have like just clocked it right away. And then the fact that I remember reading this, that they, at the end, they had Jensen do a dub over, I think, as they're like walking away from the scene. He says something like, I'm in the mood for pea soup. And it's just like, I had to explain that to my husband. I mean, my husband's not that much younger, than me. And I had to explain like why that's a thing that we're supposed to know. And I only knew that because... Linda Blair was in The Exorcist, but I didn't.
It isn't required that you know that. I mean, it's just a nice little Easter egg if you should happen to know.
That's a situation where we get back to, just like I have my little like pocket of time, like from the 80s, like 80s movies that I absolutely adore and love and think are classics that I only understand references for, but my brother, who's about 17 years younger than me, is like, I've never watched that movie. I don't get that reference. So it's almost like I don't get that reference, situation, like, or like a casting. I don't understand that reference. It's like, I kind of feel like I'm in cast mode and I should know.
Angels cast. I don't know who's on first, what's on second. What is second? Don't start.
I will say the only reason that I know the high school, that's what I like about high school girls, is because Family Guy did a skit of it. I've never seen Dazed and Confused, and I've never seen Fast Times at, is it Ridgemont High?
Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Yeah, that's early 80s.
I saw it once and I was underwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like
the history teacher and the slacker. Those two were funny.
I don't like those kind of 80s school kind of, it wasn't really for me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the 90s ones either. I didn't like American Pie. But yeah, Family Guy did a skit of it where Brian has a tash. He's outside a bowling alley. He says that line. That's where I know that from.
Mm-hmm.
My references are.
But again, it's a reference upon a reference that then, it's got all these layers to it. You'd have to go back to figure out. It's like when I was younger and I would see something, I was like, I don't get that. Or why is that a big deal? And then you have to figure it out.
Well, half the fun of the show, at least for me, because my brain is weird, is figuring out the secret languages. Like this gets memed a lot. The scene where we first meet Kevin and Dean is trying to parse out, what he's trying to explain about the prophecy tablet. And he's like, is there a how to punch dick recipe in there? And Kevin's like, I don't know what you're asking me. And someone pointed out, he doesn't speak Dean yet.
Yeah. You can read the chicken scratch on the God Rock. What? What is happening? Yeah, I will say the Megatron confusion. I really did like that. And Dean being the quote unquote nerd, like, no, that's Metatron.
Yeah. I love that Sam was like the Transformer, like that Sam was the one that was like, I thought that was really cute. I thought that was cute. I was like, Dean's like, no. I'm like, you've got to explain it.
Now I have to look up Transformer lore because now I have a headcanon where Sam was a collector and got really, really mad when come to find out, because I don't know if y'all remember this, but the Megatron Transformer action figure, one of its forms was that of a real life pistol. I mean, obviously it was a fake. It was gray plastic with purple all over it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it was an actual gun. And I can just imagine Sam being really, really mad that he transformed Megatron and tried to fire with it and it didn't work. And here's Dean laughing his ass off.
Oh, poor
And
Sammy.
John trying not to laugh because this is a serious subject says, "That's a toy, Sammy. These are the real guns and they are not toys."
Do they even, that has to be a thing now where they just, those have to be collectibles now at this point, like major collectibles.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you find the one that's actually does turn into a gun. I remember, I knew
that's
somebody
one of
that
those
had
things
one.
I think that's been phased out. Anything that looks like an actual weapon.
Yeah. No, I know somebody that had one that did that. I'm thinking about that now, and I'm like, yeah, that was a thing. Yeah, we used to smoke candy cigarettes too. I was like, great, like, yeah, let's do that. Yep, let's do that.
And got confused that they didn't work like regular cigarettes. But I did find a little short fic once where the weapons weren't secured properly, and Sam got his hands on one, and the inevitable happened.
Oh no!
It's left ambiguous whether or not Dean survived the injury, but the fact that there was an injury was quite bad enough.
Oh, sadness, no.
Goodness.
Oh, the babies.
Just when you think you can't get your heart wrenched anymore by like possibilities of what these poor kids had to go through, then
like the Shrita episode. I hate that episode. I want to punch John for an entire encyclopedia of reasons. Among them being, you have Sam on a bed, you have a monster standing over him. You have, how old was Dean then? Like 8 years old?
Yeah, I think he was
like
8 or 9.
An 8-year-old with
a
12 gauge. If he had fired that weapon in that moment, he would have shot Sam.
And also, at 8, he would have flown himself into the wall.
Kasey, so this one, you did a season 7 reference.
Yeah, I did. I can't remember what the fucking episode title is, but it's that bullshit witch one, where it's the married witchy couple, and they have an argument, and they start fucking with the town to get at each other.
Shut up, Dr. Phil. Yeah,
that's the
Shut
one.
Up, Dr. Phil.
I just fucking confuse it with Maleficara.
Maleficar. I don't know. Yeah, it's the 2 M words that are really long. Yep.
Yeah, shut up, Dr. Phil. But he's in the office of, I think, the male witch. And there's a photo of King Joffrey with a spray tan, let's say. That's my new favorite word for him. Yes, Rosie O'Donnell. Get a girl. And Dean makes, I can't remember what he says, but he makes some kind of not awful comment about him. He looks
impressed. Yeah.
Yeah. I think is it supposed to be that person like maybe shaking hands with the witch or something?
Yes. I think
he's like, yeah, look, get a load of this. And like every time I watch that, I'm like, oh fuck.
If you only knew.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
And that's not the fault of that's not the fault of the show or that it's something they should have known. It's just like, oh guys, you could not have known how this would turn out, but oh no.
I liked more of what they did with Dick Roman portraying a Trump-like character than having to mention him at all, like in the situation. So I
even then, and this is just a personal headcanon, I remain convinced that Dick Roman is a direct XP of Richard DeVos. One of the founders of Amway.
Right. Okay. I was going to say I don't understand that reference.
I'm from Michigan. I spent a big chunk of my childhood in Grand Rapids, where the Van Andels and the DeVosses are home based. Richard DeVos tried to buy his way into the governorship. This would have been back in 2004. And his wife, Betsy, was Trump's Secretary of Education.
Betsy, I know that name,
yeah. Yeah, okay.
One of the points about things that haven't aged well / things that should have been executed better, the lack of racial diversity in the characters and the cast, that's a legit gripe.
Yeah.
And my case in point is Rufus. because the little bit that we do learn about Rufus, it really makes me wish we'd spent more time with him. First of all, he's a Black man in a subculture that seems to be predominantly white.
Mm-hmm.
How many hunters of color do we actually meet over the course of this series? Secondly, and actually this part might be more interesting, is he's Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not strict. He's not strictly Orthodox, and apologies if I'm not using those terms correctly, but it is a part of his life, of his character, that he is not a Christian. So it would have been interesting, maybe just a conversation with Bobby, how somebody who either was not brought up that way or who converted as an adult reconciles their faith with all of the Roman Catholic nonsense that they get exposed to over the course of their job.
Yeah, it's very, very biblical. And I know they deal with monsters from all different cultures and religions and things like that.
That's topic 2.
Yeah, a lot of the, the angels and demons and stuff, it is very, very Christian. So yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't considered that.
Yeah.
Well, because it brings up interesting questions, like, is there a Hebrew prayer of exorcism that would work like the Rituale Romanum? Is there a Jewish equivalent of holy water, of a blessing that confers the same powers? Just little things that aren't there because for a fact the writers didn't care enough to sketch in a backstory. And that irritates me. And as for dealing with gods of multiple faiths, and this is just a quick touch because I don't really feel qualified to have an educated opinion on this, but a point of criticism that I have seen is gods of other faiths being treated as quote unquote minor gods or outright monsters.
Yeah.
Like Hammer of the Gods when they were like,
Yeah. And like all of
exactly.
Like the sort of
demigods or different, like they would
demigods, and they like it's an old Greek god, or what's it, fucking defending your life. Is it Osiris?
Right. Now they sidestep some of that by using gods from dead faiths, mythological figures more than gods.
Yeah.
Hammer of the Gods, some of the characters that are in that are intended to represent actual living gods of people that practice those faiths
isn't
the world. And I would completely understand if they got extremely offended by that. Because it is offensive to have something that profound in a person's life treated as a plot point in someone else's story and treated as disrespectfully as they were.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're saying something about which one were you talking about, Kasey?
I was in Hammer of the Gods, Kali, the one that Loki's like, it's implied that they had a relationship. Isn't she a Hindu, part of the Hindu faith? Yeah, that's what I thought. Because I know there's like, Gabriel's there as quote unquote Loki, and I know there's a couple of others, but I was pretty sure that one was Hindu is obviously a living practiced religion.
Right.
Yeah.
Practiced by over 1 billion people, you insensitive pricks.
Yeah, that is, we call that a fucking problem, lads. Not to put too fine a point on it.
I understand why they didn't get into that, because in the end, this is fiction, and there is a certain amount of artistic license you need to back off of, and back off. It's not that big a deal. It implies the writers fell down on the job, and I hate that. Because you have an entire body of amateur artists like ourselves who put genuine thought and attention into these concepts and come up with wonderful stories, alternate universes, canon divergencies that incorporate those ideas. If we can do it and we still have to hold down jobs, you're paid to do this shit, asshole.
This is your whole thing. This is literally what you do. Fully in agreement there. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. When we're talking about people of color as well, I will never forgive that episode, Man's Best Friend. Nope.
That was a. I mean,
That's on
that
my
was
automatic skip list. I hate that episode.
That was so bad. That was so bad then, and it just gets worse.
Like that isn't a thing that necessarily hasn't aged well. That was a thing that was never okay.
That was really bad.
No.
Yeah.
If you think about like Dean and the cheerleaders and the barely legal girls, mid 2000s, we're still kind of coming off like American Pie, and those kind of movies were still kind of what was considered funny.
I love you, dude, but I kind of want to break your nose for that. And the response to that would be, he kind of looks at you. I'm kidding, obviously. Okay.
And you're like, oh, you're not, but Man's Best Friend, that was just a problem from
because
inception.
because that was a writer's, like, again, like that was the creators too. Like, I mean, and that's Buck Lemming, I think, isn't it? Or weren't they the ones behind that one? I feel
I'm
like
not sure. I don't know. You know these things. I don't know these things.
They're part of so many. Well, what happened to your handy dandy spreadsheet?
Oh shit! No, I haven't. Yeah, no, I have a sheet.
Spreadsheet. So
I have a sheet.
I shouldn't have to. You going to make me look this up on IMDb, or are you?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
No, I'm not. What season is that in? What season is that in?
8, I think.
Season 8.
Yeah.
Season 8. Man's Best Friend with Benefits. Buckner, Brad Buckner and Eugene Ross Lemming.
They tend to do a lot of stuff that's just very problematic, and I think that's probably their worst one that they've. Well, no, they killed Charlie too, so I think that's probably the higher up. This is just so stupid, and everything that they did in that was wrong. They made so many choices in Man's Best Friend with Benefits. That's just. Why?
To reiterate a point I made when we talked in a different setting, you have a Black woman who's the animal slave of a white man in a collar, and nobody caught the yikes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it. That was wrong at conception. Nobody was like,
right.
oh,
that wasn't that was not okay just from the jump.
This is also a very cringy moment, I think, for Dean, that they lean into that too, because you got Dean like questioning and like going like and Sam's like, because you could see Dean's head, like he's thinking some stuff through, and Sam's like, what? And I'm like, no, they're not. They're not.
Dude, you're confusing reality with porn again. Although this time it's not funny.
No, this time no. It's like no. There are moments when they make him. I don't know. Like, I understand the growth of him. Sometimes I feel like they make him regress in a lot of ways that I don't feel is necessary for his character. And I feel like he does a lot of back and forth, 2 steps forward, but way too many steps back. But then they like level set it again and he's fine. And I'm just like, you got to pick when. And I think that's dependent a lot on the scripts and who's doing it too.
Yeah, that's less things that haven't necessarily aged well, and more sloppy execution on the part of the showrunners.
Yeah. I think at some point Kasey and I are like, we have another idea. I think like just like plots and different things that just like didn't make any sense. No, we have some ideas for that too.
Do we?
Yeah.
Yes,
I think so.
I've only seen the episode once because I refuse to watch it again. I refuse to sacrifice the brain cells. I need them, God damn it.
Yep.
But isn't there like a whole lot of witch world backstory that turns out to mean absolutely nothing because they never reference it again?
Yeah. It's just so, and it's almost like I'm trying to figure out like really what was the point of that episode, and I can't really.
Someone had a fetish. Someone in the production crew had a thing. Hi, Bobs.
There was some kind of. I think they were trying to do some kind of parallel because it was season 8, so it was not trusting, like that whole thing between Sam and Dean. It was just going on and on and on, and it was another. It was just stupid.
I read somewhere that an episode concept that never got off the ground was a high concept one where Sam and Dean were in a laundromat and they were just talking. I'd have traded Man's Best Friend with Benefits in a New York minute for that episode.
Yeah.
Because an opportunity for the two of them to actually fucking talk to each other.
Yeah.
When the whole conflict of the season is that they're not communicating.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Passed it up for this shit.
Yeah, that was bad. I mean, that was cringy then. It's even, I don't, I mean, it really, I mean, if you could technically say it has not aged well, that, because it was bad then and it's just worse. It was worse.
Yeah, it was
now.
not aging well at conception. That was a fucking
You got
problem.
the fish from the fish was already spoiled when you got it at the store, and then you just left it in the trunk.
Oh, yeah.
It was just bad all the way around.
Junk the car. That smell ain't never coming out.
Yeah, that's just how your car is now forever. Yeah, and that's the thing when we talk about things of supernatural, that's the first thing that comes to everybody's mind. You're like, oh shit, that fucking episode with the familiar dicks. Yeah.
Because I think it could have been an interesting concept, like BJ said, like to explore that a little bit more, just not that way. Like, I find the idea, and I mean, there's been a bunch of great fics about familiars that are very interesting to read and like how that connection works.
The concept itself, I think, is problematic to film because this is still slavery, children, and slavery isn't a good look no matter how you frame it. And then they went and made it worse by casting the witch and the familiar in the way that they did.
Yeah.
Like you took something that was already iffy and then just completely torpedoed any chance that it might have worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that is of all the supernatural things, like I'm like, time for a wedding and man's best friend with benefits, where you're like, fucking nobody in the whole production crew, Jared and Jensen, fucking nobody was like
waving the flag on this one, guys.
Real quick question. What?
For our UK friends, red card.
Yeah, fucking just pull the director or the writers aside and just be like, hi, real quick, what the fuck? Did you look at this at all? Did you just throw darts at a wall to get this plot? What is happening? Is this a Mad Lib? What? Yeah, no, I have questions.
Yeah.
Now, Time for a Wedding is a different flavor of ish. Because I understand what they were going for. I mean, the idea, because Becky Rosen is 98 pounds soaking wet, and Sam could break her into tiny, tiny pieces with his little finger. So the idea that she could dominate Sam is it's supposed to be a funny concept, but then again, you had to bring date rape drugs into it. Thanks so much.
Yeah, it's like I see the attempt at subversion with the, oh my god, she's teeny tiny and Sam's huge. But yeah, like when you drug people, that's a problem. That's the thing.
I hate everything Becky's in just because I don't. Becky is the show making fun of its fans, and I take that personally.
Yep.
I shouldn't, but I do. Now, to place the whole thing in context, I mean, yeah, the event itself is but Sam is obviously not traumatized by the experience. The worst he is inconvenienced, maybe a little physically uncomfortable because, bathroom. But he comes away with it, just a little more irritated with life. But there are other instances in the show where where he is actually sexually assaulted, and that is treated very, very cavalierly, I guess the word. And I don't like that. The specific instance that comes to mind is the Bevel bitch's magical mind fuck.
Yeah.
And how that's never really dealt with as something that Sam might need a little space to recover from.
Yeah.
Which, not okay.
Yep, with you there. Red Sky at Morning, Gertrude. That's the thing. I can't hate that episode because Dean's so good in it. It's so, I'll objectify you, but I hate that bit.
Well, even then, I see the kind of laughs that they're going for there, because I mean, Gert's a little old lady who got a little handsy. So, and Sam obviously, could break her in half, pinky.
Yeah, but he's
but that's not
he's extremely uncomfortable too with it too. Yeah.
And it's like it's that whole
he has to stand there and be groped for 2 hours by a woman old enough to be his grandmother. So not a pleasant experience.
If you gender swap that, and I know I'm preaching to the choir here,
it becomes disgusting.
That's it. If you gender swap that, okay, well, a healthy woman in her 20s could do some serious fucking damage to an old man in his 70s, let's say, but nobody would stand by and go, "Oh, she's not in any real danger. Ah ha 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 ha! Isn't that so funny?" Because she could just break his arm. Everyone would be horrified, you know. Yeah. And that's my. I have a lot of issues with the treatment of Sam Winchester in the show.
I see the humor. I just don't think it's funny.
Yeah, I see what you were driving at, but unfortunately, you missed.
Do we have any other major cringy or dated stuff?
Hang on, let me look at document here. Oh, Dean is a grumpy old man. I think he was a grumpy old man when he was 13.
Well,
he has never been with it. No matter what it is, he has never been with it.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a time because I think when we were talking too about his growth and stuff, and I think Kasey, you were mentioning Chrissy, and just a time when I just feel I just don't know, the grumpy old guy. I feel like they definitely lean into that more earlier, I think, than I expected them to with him. I don't know.
Eternal quest is for a lawn that he can order people off of.
This is true. Yeah. I think I do love that about him too. That he's always seemed to be grumpy. There's always been that he's just that guy that's just oh god, we got to do this now. I feel like he was just always sort of aged up anyway.
Loves
because
kids,
of stuff.
But is a little impatient with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, when you've been a parent since 4, by the time you get to 30, you're fucking done with it.
Yeah,
you've been a parent for 20 odd years. That's enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I get it. Hi, sweetie.
You can't scare me. I have a baby brother.
Yep, that's the one. That's exactly it.
So I mean, all things discussed about Supernatural in general, and I love how we go on these tangents, and then we're all these things that we.
But we love the show so much.
But we love the show so much. So do we think
it's our favorite show? Do
we think to kind of do it on a positive note? Do we think there's some things we talked? I mean, you talked a little bit too about the weapon handling being something that a lot of people feel they did well. But do you think inherently there's other stuff they kind of got right off the bat and just continued to build on that as the show got? Or do you think there's pockets of time when they did things really well on the show? One thing you could think of, I hope we're not going to have to really figure this one out, but one thing they did really well overall on the show.
I know that it's listed under lack of diversity / kill your gays, which I would argue about that. But the presence of Charlie, to have a woman character who is clearly not available as a partner to either of the guys, but who immediately slots into that friend role that they obviously really, really pine for. That was nice, and that was a lot of fun to watch.
And I know the representation, or maybe how they're talking about in season the very first episode, what happens with Mary and Jessica, in that situation. But I do think that there was a moment that when the representation of women, I felt did shift in a more positive way. I think Jody as a character was a very sort of positive representation, and her growth and her arc. And even Donna, I feel Donna was a very real representation of, what it's like to be a woman in law enforcement and the insecurities, but then also how badass she can be, and how, again, they had people in their lives that were female, family, that they respected. And I think they did that, and they showed that very well with Jody and the girls and Donna. I feel
I think
that
it could
was
have been integrated a lot better, but that feeds into larger complaints about how the later seasons were developed. in contrast and in clear demonstration of growth, do you remember, I think it was season 7, it's the episode when the guys figure out that Bobby didn't cross over. It was a haunted house that a colleague of theirs was investigating, and she ran afoul of the ghost and was killed. I don't like how the implication that here's one of the only female hunters that they seem to have a good working relationship with, and
Everyone's
she's the hunter community bicycle. That I didn't enjoy that implication. On the one hand, I kind of get it, because I mean, it's a lonely life, and bar hookups are always a risk. So you hook up with people who get it, so you can at least skip that part of the conversation. On the other hand, I'm not a fan of that idea. You know, that because, like it or not, because there are so few women hunters that we meet over the course of the series, the ones that are there are going to become the model for how we think the majority of them behave. And the idea that women hunters are easy is not an idea I'm really comfortable with.
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah. I'm thinking I did really have to think about it, but I think a thing that it did pretty well from the start is if you exclude the Winchesters, as in Sam and Dean and John, I think they try really hard to show what family should be. And I think they do that quite well. Bobby, yeah, they bicker, but he's never not going to show up for them. And you see that it's real familial love and affection past what they could do for each other. Jody with the kids, like Jody and Donna as well, and these, like Ellen and Joe, these found families that they kind of put themselves in, that you can see the real effort is being made to not be the same levels of fucked up as John raised boys. I think it does. I think it's
to be completely fair to John. I try. He was operating under a pressure that none of those other families were. I mean, he legitimately thought they were being hunted by something that wanted them dead.
Yeah. And I'm not like, that is not, I mean, I'll rag on John Winchester all day long and twice on Sunday. I will. But that was not, you know, he was in the situation he was in, and he did what he did with the information that he had and the kids that he had and yada, yada, yada. But I do think throughout the whole show, as they kind of, the boys move, kind of like expand their network from the very isolation.
There is that growth. It does take a while. I think it takes a while for them to grow into that aspect of it. I think Bobby is like the linchpin that sort of starts it, because, you know, they had that relationship prior, but then, like you said, it extends to, oh, there's other hunters outside of like this small network we were given, you know, access to, like with Joe and Ellen, Rufus.
And these are, these are people that don't take the boys' shit, and they call them out on a lot of the toxic kind of traits that have been embedded in them because of the way that they grew up, and these found families don't let them behave in that manner, and they try and, you know, encourage them to be different and to be better. And I do have always thought that the show does really good portrayals of found family and how it can be. And, you know, it's not all sunshine and roses, and it's not like they fall into, you know, a fucking white picket fence and stuff. It's still messy and it's still nasty and shit still happens, but these are people that you know are going to pick up the phone when you call. And I think that's really healthy for kids, youth, to see that, yeah, maybe your family sucks, but there are people out there that will be your family and want you to be better. You know, that was really
it's a point that the Screen Rant author makes, you know, things that haven't aged well, attitudes of toxic masculinity, which I think is a very shallow reading of what's actually going on, because especially when we first meet them. When we first meet them, Dean particularly, I mean, there's they were raised with an ideal of rugged individualism and and masculinity that's very toxic. The thing of it is, if you actually pay attention, this is explicitly framed as a bad thing. It is not good that they isolate themselves to the degree that they do. It's not good that they don't open up with anybody, not even each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not good that Sam dresses up his emotional repression in early 2000s therapy speak.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, I mean, I think the one thing I take away from it too is the fact that, you know, if we're constantly isolated and we're not given the chance to get exposure from different people, different situations, different families, how people live, if you don't get that exposure, you never know. And it's not necessarily bad. It's just, this is all you have. And you're never going to realize there's an ability or maybe a reason you might want to change or have a different aspect if you get the knowledge. I think that's Dean's major growth, because I think Sam sought that out, right? Like Sam went out of that circle to go to college to, I think, get that, because that's what he craved. I think with Dean, it was more, he would have been perfectly fine staying within that. But then once he was forced out of it because of what happened with John and everything, I think he got a knowledge that he never would have sought outside of that. And I think for him, I think that was positive, you know, because you do see, like you said, I think with Dean, his growth is much more apparent, because if you're watching it through the seasons where you already know that Sam was given time to accumulate this knowledge outside of hunting, I think, more than Dean was when the show first starts. So, but it's still in there. I
respectfully disagree in a way.
Okay.
Because of how Sam and Dean's personalities work, because Sam compartmentalizes much more efficiently than Dean does.
Right.
And he says it at several points. You know, he went off to school because that's what you're supposed to do when you're 18. That's the life stage in which you go away from your family. I mean, literally, that's what you're supposed to do. But he says several times that he never really felt at home in college, that he always felt like the outsider. And it's a theme that it's something that sticks with Sam throughout his life, is how much he struggles to make connections. Yeah. When we learn about what happened with Azazel, where, I mean, he literally struggles with his own humanity, and that makes making connections difficult. I mean, he doubts that he's safe around people sometimes.
Yeah. No, I get that. I think for me, it was just a matter of, even if it was something he thought he had to do, like he made the choice to get the knowledge and to experience. But I do agree. I think Dean always felt like he knew his place, you know, however very limited or
his
not.
place was given to him. Yeah. And he was brainwashed into accepting it.
Yeah. But with that, again, like once he got some other information, he was able to kind of go beyond that, I think, a little bit. But with Sam, I think it was much more, you know, he's always felt, I guess, in one foot in, 1 foot out, never quite, like you said, never finding his footing anywhere. I don't know. Do you think he finds it? If you're looking at the show and how the show ends, or do you think he's just kind of still searching and never really finding his place?
I don't think he ever finds it.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think he ever finds it. I'll
spare you the list of the reasons I think the ultimate finale is invalid, because I know you've gone over it before you two. But no, I don't. Well, for one thing, they both have very different personal needs when it comes to connection. Sam is a lot more of a solitary person. He seems to find his peace when he's by himself with a relatively small circle of friends. Dean's a lot more gregarious. And somewhere in the middle, you find the balance. And that's one of the reasons I think Charlie is as important as it is, because she somehow struck the balance between the two of them. She gets both of those points of view. And she's a badass, and that always helps.
I love talking to BJ. BJ's so great. I love talking to BJ about this stuff. Oh, yes. Goodness. Because just quick aside, like Pac-Man Fever, when Dean has to go into Charlie's nightmare. But if you look at the uniform when he wakes up, I mean, he's a doctor and he's a full bird colonel. Take the compliment, man. Charlie loves you. that's great. That's great. I don't know. I think we've run the gamut. I think we've run the gamut on things.
I don't envy you the editing job you're going to need to do, Sam.
No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I actually don't think we'll have to edit that much. I think it'll be good. I think we were able to wrench it back a few times and bring it so that it'll be a nice easy edit for me. But I don't know. I mean, I think like I said, I know we dunk on it a lot, but I do feel there are some great aspects to it as well, or we still wouldn't be talking about this show having these kinds of discussions over these characters, you know?
The
show is so good, it's irritating when they don't do it better.
Yeah, but to paraphrase Mark Shepard, the reason that it's held up for 15 years of show and 5 years after, and we're still fucking talking about it, is because these stories are timeless. There are problems. Obviously, there's problems in every media when you look back on it 20 years after the fact. But these stories about family and found family and, you know, who you are versus, you know, who you might be supposed to be or meant to be, or, you know, a path that's set out for you versus the path you choose. It's timeless and they need to be told, you know?
Yeah. And how the things that kept you alive can also hurt you later.
Yeah. Right. The tools or how you know how to cope and all those different things, like they don't necessarily benefit you later on down the line. And you have to be able, again, for me, it's all about giving somebody the chance to get that opportunity to see that there's something beyond. And I think, you know, it's always hard with them. It's always hard with the boys.
You know, I don't necessarily, well, not necessarily, I fully don't agree with the you know, the concept put forth by the ending that life will be shit, but eventually you'll die and then it'll be okay. I don't agree with that. But I do, like, if somebody were like a kid, for example, now going through that show, watching it for the first time, I think there's a really great message there that says you don't have to be who people have told you are. You can break out and you can be different and you can make different choices. And sometimes it's going to suck. But if you're true and authentic to yourself, that's going to be better for you than anything else. And just season 15 ends at 19, which is a strange number for it to end on. But
I know, it's weird.
I mean, I might have made it 15 or 20 is an even number, but 19's fine. And you know, I know the DVD says 20, but just ignore that. You know, if you end it there and that beautiful montage and they drive off into the sunset and they're fucking happy forever, I think that's a nice message. We dunk on the show because we love it so much and it speaks to us so much. So when it gets it wrong, it really clangs. But the messages are important. They're timeless and they're important and they need to be told.
There we go. Look at you wrapping it up in a nice little bow, Kasey.
Oh, I'm so good.
You're such a good spider. You're such a good spider. You're such a good spider. Well, I think we should do the outro. We should keep BJ on so BJ can watch us do our lovely outro as we do it.
Yeah.
But yeah. But thank you, BJ. We appreciate you joining us for this conversation. It has been.
Thank you for listening to me rant.
Oh, I love listening to you rant. I love it.
Ranting and we love it.
I love it. That's why we wanted you back on. We're gonna have you back on again for another topic. So
yeah, this is it. You're not like, okay, I've done my contractual thing. They'll fuck off now. No, we won't. We'll find another reason. Give me
a time.
Bitchin'. Fishing.
So I think what we should do is it's been a long day, I think, for everybody, considering how late a lot of people have been in. I got up early. You guys were up late.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 10:15 UK time, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It is.
It is. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you need sleep.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I don't need sleep. I need answers. No, I need sleep.
Well, if you want to go get answers, we'll have to wrap this up so then you can continue your answers after that. So for now, we're going to say thank you to BJ for joining us. Thank you guys for listening, but we want to know your thoughts on all of the stuff that we talked about. So email us at idlinginttheimpala@gmail.com. You can comment on Spotify in the Q&A section, leave a YouTube comment, join our Discord and chat with fellow idlers and us in real time. That would be BJ. BJ's in there as well. Check out our merch store, which is another fun way to show your support. You can find details for everything on our website. That's idlingintheimpala.com. Want to fuel our supernatural road trip? Consider joining us on Ko-fi. We have perks to go along with different membership tiers, and would love to have you along for the ride.
Speaking of perks, we've got special shout-outs for some of our Ko-fi members. From our Shotgun Picks the Music tier, we've got Runaway Dreamer, Crowley's Mistress, Sam and Dean 76, Elia, Charlie, and Just Whispering Fantasies. Thank you for picking the tunes in the car. Support like yours keeps our podcast going. Thank you. Don't forget, you can always support us for free by liking, commenting, subscribing on YouTube, and following, rating, and sharing on audio platforms. Engagement like that really helps us with the algorithms. All hail their benevolence. As always, we have the causes we support in the description. So for me, you have LGBTQ plus talking charities. From Sandra, you have mental health charities. And of course, the main causes that we are highlighting, championing, spotlighting always are World Central Kitchen and Doctors Without Borders. If you want to know more about these causes, why we're supporting them, what they mean to us, check out idlingintheimpala.com. There's a page there called Causes Cause with all the details. So with that, we'll say a huge thank you to BJ for joining us. Thank you for joining us in the back seat, and we will see you next time, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a good one.